Welcome back to Cobertizo. This is part 5 of this exciting and exhilarating tale. If you are new to the channel, chapter 1 can be found in the link of the description. Now, go ahead and find your cozy spot, close your eyes, and let's dive into the world of Cobertizo. Chapter 5, Shifty Bruno. Bruno couldn't face his family after what happened. Against all the questions of every family member once he returned from the forest, he felt cornered and locked himself in the one place he hated the most. It was true, he hated his room. It was cold, it was sandy, and the stairs were a horror even for him. He didn't care if there were precisely 1,287 stairs, or that he'd found 7 four-leaf clovers growing in the crevices, endless supplies of salt and matches, and not a crack to be stepped on. No matter how hard he tried to stay away from bad luck, he felt like the unluckiest person in Encanto. There, he tried to find a good prophecy, a light in the darkness, something to hope for. But as hard as he tried, he could only focus on the foreboding prophecy he had of himself. Again, it played out before him just as it had before. It started with a large gash on someone's arm. Next came someone struggling to walk, stumbling. He saw the sight of Mirabelle and her sisters huddled on the ground in fear. The image next was of he himself shoving Mirabelle off the top of his tower. Then it was his own eyes, shown glowing bright with the use of his gift. The images continued before him just the same as they had the first and second time. As the last image was shown that he dreaded the most, the pieces in his satchel reduced to sand, and a new slab appeared in his hands that shone green and bright in the dark. No. He shook his head. No, no, no! He threw the slate against the wall with a crash and fell to his knees. His body shook with a pain nothing his sister maid could fix. Tears fell to the ground, creating clumps of sand that rolled into the center of the pit. The tower was filled with the sound of his echoing sobs for what felt like hours, until his voice grew hoarse. Make me wrong. For once, just make me wrong, he pleaded. You gave me this gift, but why? What good has come out of any of this? The sand shifted and formed casita with cracks in it. She had a chance, a choice in that. I don't have a choice. The image shifted to that of Mirabelle hugging him. He swiped his hand through the sand sculpture. Don't show me Mirabelle. I can't take it. It's all because of me that this happened. I should have never turned around from going to Cobertizo. I should have just told her. I should just tell Mirabelle. The words echoed all around him. Tell Mirabelle. Tell Mirabelle. Tell Mirabelle. He sighed deeply and lied on his back. No, I can't tell Mirabelle. He knew he had a choice. A difficult choice that he hated to have to make. He wanted to tell his favorite niece more than all the family. She listened to him. She believed in him still more than anybody else. But he couldn't tell her now. Not after what just happened. He had to stop this prophecy from coming somehow, and it was his love and devotion to his family that made his choice all the more painful. When the moon was high enough to send beams splashing down to the bottom of his tower, he unlocked the door and peered out over the dark house. Everyone's doors were dimly lit, as it always was when they were sleeping, all except his that glowed brightly. He looked back to his door and placed a hand on the knob gently. Memories of his gift day flashed before his eyes. He was so excited to get his gift after watching both of his sisters get theirs. Peppa would play with her mood all day long, making it snowy, then sunny, then rainy, then rainbows spread over her head, and they all laughed and played all day long. He touched Peppa's door fondly. He used to protect her emotions, and she took delight in it. Until I made that one dumb joke, he whispered, remembering his sister's wedding day. He passed by Julieta's door. He formed a fist to knock, but stopped just before his knuckles touched. Instead, he flattened his hands against the planks. I wish you could heal this, he whispered at her door, and went to the small space between the walls to gather what little belongings he had. There wasn't much there once he'd come home after the fall. The chair stayed, some books, some essentials for days when he felt like just being alone, a hairbrush, toothbrush, gauze, a bowl, and a change of clothes.
Tio Bruno, what are you doing?
It was little Antonio who walked into the small space. The rats ratted me out again, Bruno thought, swallowing a large lump in his throat. He couldn't explain this to Antonio. How could he? I'm just tidying up a little bit, get some sand out of here. He swiped at a little drawer, knocking off a handful of sand and one of the rats. You should really get back to bed. Your mom doesn't like you up after your bedtime. He tied some of his books together. You should get some sleep, too. Another voice came. Antonio was gone. But now, Mirabel was the one staring at him.
What's wrong, Tio Bruno?
Bruno turned away. He couldn't stand to face her. It had been hard enough to distance himself over the past few weeks since he'd had the prophecy, but after what just happened, he couldn't bear to be near her and cause any more harm. Please, Mirabel, you've gone through enough today. Don't worry about me. Just go back to bed. She makes you that uncomfortable, huh? Bruno looked back. Mirabel shifted into Antonio, and finally Camilo. Bruno, could deal with. She doesn't make me uncomfortable. Camilo shifted back into Mirabel.
I don't. Really?
Bruno turned away. Even if he knew it wasn't really his niece, he felt trapped by just the sight of her. He knew what he had to do. Camilo's voice came again. None of this is your fault, them going to that forest. They went because your sister heard me talk about it. I'm the reason they went there. Dolores hears things that's none of her business. You can mutter about whenever you want to mutter about, Teal. It's her big mouth that made them go there, not you. You tried to go in peace for whatever reason you gotta go there. Probably a prophecy or something, huh? Something like that. Nice. Camilo poked at one of the rats that scurried away from his finger and ran to Bruno's shoulder. He'd never really talked to Bruno before. They hardly interacted, but Camilo figured after the day's events that he had to find something out before someone else got hurt. He cared more than he let on, and was scared of seeing anyone else in the family end up like Mirabel. He knew by now that his Theo would do anything to keep his family safe, or at least stay safe himself for them, as Camilo hoped he would. Yeah, if you gotta go, you gotta go, but everyone's worried about you. If you go out there tonight, we're gonna go straight back to that forest to look for you. Bruno slowed his movements until he stopped completely. His nephew had a point. He couldn't put his family in more danger, but he had to go to Cobertizo before the prophecy came true. He sighed deeply and put his satchel down. So, what happened in that forest with Mirabel? Camilo came closer. That was the main reason he wanted to talk to his tío. His curiosity was burning and driving him crazy since the three came back. Dolores said that Mirabel said that she saw and heard things that weren't there. She going crazy or something? Nah, Mirabel saw something real out there. What do you mean? Tia Julieta didn't hear or see a horse, and she said there was no rider either. I don't know why we couldn't see it, but I know for a fact that what Mirabel saw was real. How? If you couldn't see it, I saw it in a vision. Bruno began pacing. I didn't have time to see it clearly because I was running, but I saw them on the ground while something dark attacked them. Then you did see the horsemen? No, I only saw something dark in my vision. I knew that forest wasn't safe, so I grabbed a metal shovel from the field on the way. When I got there was nothing, though. No dark being, no horse, no sound. So, my visions are never wrong. I know something was going to happen and held the shovel out in the air when I saw it attacking in my vision. Then your vision was wrong? Bruno chuckled. If only. He picked up the shovel he'd brought back and hidden there that was bent in the shape of a banana. I didn't see anything come. There was no darkness, no sound, no horse or rider. Something with a lot of force hit and bent the shovel, though, and it was no tree branch. Whoa! Camilo touched the metal and felt a shiver go down his spine. So there really is a curse out there. Why didn't you say anything to Tia Julieta? Bruno rubbed his arm. She had enough to worry about with Mirabel, and nobody's ever going to go back there anyway. Except you. After that, I'll try to find a way around it. He knew there was a choice, but it wasn't much of one. A terrible feeling washed over him as the idea swirled in his mind. You should really get going to bed, though. Yeah, I'm tired, you're tired, and, well, it's late anyways. Yeah, you'll still be here tomorrow for breakfast, though, right? Bruno paused. Camilla was right about one thing. After the events of the day, the family would just go back to the forest if he disappeared. He gave a thin lipped smile. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Cool. See you in the morning, Theo. Bruno rubbed his arm, wrapped his blanket around him, and sat in his large red chair with a deep sigh. The rats scampered around the room. Some came and curled up on his lap or on his shoulder. Back to square one, guys. At least there's no stairs. He yawned and closed his eyes. Neither he or Camilo knew about the third member of the family that had heard every word. After seeing the shadow, Mirabel followed Camilo through the painting and listened to their conversation from a dark corner. Now, as she made her way through the house back to bed, her thoughts ran wild. I knew I wasn't seeing things. That attack was too real. But then, why could I see it but nobody else could? Even Theo Bruno only saw it in a vision. So what prophecy did he have that includes Cobertizo? He has to have it nearby. She lay down in her own bed and tried to think. When did this all start? Yesterday. Yesterday when the Primos were fighting? No, it was before that. I was trying to find him. Her eyes widened in her dark room. That one he was looking at yesterday. I knew he was acting stranger than usual. I gotta get that prophecy, but how? He probably has it hidden somewhere that nobody can find it. Obviously not in his room. I could ask him. No, I make him uncomfortable. Wait, why does Tio Bruno feel uncomfortable near me? What did I do wrong? All these thoughts swirled in her head with that one question at the center of it all until she finally drifted off. Good morning, little sister. Mirabel opened her eyes to colorful splotches of bright red, orange, and yellow. Mirabel put on her glasses and saw it was Isabella and Louisa, who'd worried about their little sister all night. The bright colors were from another flower dress that had started out white. This was Isabella's fall collection, as she called it, and it looked like she changed colors with Louisa close at hand, as the bigger sister was also covered in bright splashes of red and yellow. How are you feeling? Louisa asked. Good. I don't feel much bit different than I did last night. The two older sisters looked at each other worriedly. What? So what happened yesterday? Dolores said you saw a horse and rider? Like the ones that attacked Abuela before Encanto. Louisa pounded her fist in her hand, feeling an angry protective fire in her belly. Yeah, but Mom said she didn't see or hear anything. It was there, though. I know it was. Do you think it was a curse? Isabella said. Wait, if it was a real curse, then why could Mirabel see it, not Mom? Louisa asked. I don't get it either, the youngest said. Listen, though, I overheard Tio Bruno talking with Camilo last night, and he said he saw it in a vision. It was different, though. Like, he said he couldn't see all of it because he was running while he had it. He just saw a big blur or something. I thought Tio Bruno had to be in his room to see the future. Isabella picked a pink flower from the wall and tossed it out the window. Yeah, and with lots of sand, Louisa added. No, he just needs an open space. Maybe he used the soil from the priming fields. He did say he was running towards the dark forest when he had it and grabbed a shovel from the fields to protect us from what he saw in his vision. He kept that shovel, and that thing looks like one of Mom's compañeras. That's a little scary, Isabella said. Now I don't blame you for fainting. Mirabel gave her an unamused look. Her big sister still had tendencies to be annoying in her own way. She decided to change the subject. Have you seen Tio Bruno this morning? He was talking to Mom, Dad, and Abuela this morning when I woke up, Louisa said. Something about a misunderstanding, and he said he had no reason to go back into those woods. Yeah, I'm real glad to know you guys went to that place for nothing, Isabella said. Right. She didn't forget that Bruno had a prophecy that had something to do with this Cobertizo. Hey, wait, A clattering brought their attention, and a clock bounced across tiles on the floor. Yes, yes, we're coming. Whoa! The bed tilted sideways, and the girls rolled to the door that was held open. All right, all right, Mirabelle laughed. At least let me get dressed. I don't want to get breakfast in my pajamas. The window panes both opened in a shrug. She closed the door and got dressed. Is Theo Bruno coming to breakfast? The tiles on her window pane clattered. The shutters opened, and the tiles led away on the side of the house. She followed the line of sight to see Bruno shoving a pastry into his mouth before putting another one on his plate in the courtyard. Mirabelle sighed. Thank goodness. This might be easy after all. And that is the end of chapter 5. I hope you enjoyed it. I really do enjoy this story. If you did enjoy it as much as I did, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications when new chapters are uploaded. Until next chapter, may God bless you with a wonderful day.